Today, we're looking at the classics released between 1991 and 1995. Capcom's Magical Trio, a shoot-'em-up, a side-scrolling platformer, and a puzzle game all rolled into one incredible machine. Each game had its own unique flavor. Back in 1991, this was top-tier quality, and it was incredibly popular. The difficulty was just right, making it a hit with both players and arcade owners. Because of that, I was still seeing this machine in arcades as late as 1998 and 1999. So, there's no way a retro countdown video could ever leave out three wonders. Its status as a classic speaks for itself. Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder. This is Sega's brutal aesthetic at its finest. Though not a mainline numbered sequel, it fully harnessed the incredible power of Sega's new arcade board. Without a doubt, this is the absolute peak of the Golden Axe series. Plus, it supported 4-player simultaneous action. The 4 characters all played completely differently, especially the little dwarf with the pitchfork. He could actually spawn fruit to heal you, which was such an innovative design back then. The gameplay and the sheer impact of the hits completely blew the mainline trilogy out of the water. Story-wise, you finally destroy Death Adder for good, bringing a perfect conclusion to the original plot. Sadly, this masterpiece never got ported to home consoles, which is a real shame. But in terms of quality, it's easily the strongest title in the entire series. Captain Commando, the undisputed leader of the Capcom arcade classics. Capcom built an incredible future war between cops and criminals with a brilliant steampunk aesthetic. Everyone says Final Fight set the standard for side-scrolling beat-'em ups, but if you ask me, Captain Commando was the one that perfected the genre by introducing the dash mechanic. This launched Capcom's glorious multi-year era where they totally dominated the arcade scene. Captain Commando was the pioneer leading that charge. The CPS2 arcade board guaranteed incredible graphical quality, and you had 4 characters to choose from. Whether you preferred close quarters melee, heavy ranged damage, or high agility, there was a character tailored just for you. The gameplay was fast-paced and thrilling, and the plot tied in perfectly with the movie lore. Personally, I absolutely love this title. Unfortunately, the high difficulty, combined with the expensive bootleg costs for CPS2 boards back then, meant it didn't get massive traction in domestic arcades. But nobody can deny that this is an absolute, pure classic. Samurai Shodown, the definitive milestone for weapon-based fighting games. Haomaru's grand entrance, and Yukio's cyclone/scattering autumn leaves. In 1993, its groundbreaking rage gauge system made every single slash feel incredibly heavy and dangerous. Back then, everyone was still hooked on the button-mashing impact of Street Fighter II. When suddenly this game comes along where you're literally hacking at each other with blades, it completely blew people's minds. Everyone was like, wow, this is insanely addictive. It felt even more intense than standard fighting games. You obviously can't go around swinging swords in real life, but in this game, you could fully live out that fantasy. That was the magic of the first Samurai Shodown. Dungeons & Dragons, Tower of Doom. A groundbreaking marriage between RPG mechanics and traditional arcades. Multiple paths, multiple characters, multiple endings, and you even used gold coins to buy items. People were wondering, is this even a beat 'em up anymore? Capcom turned a high fantasy world into a side-scrolling action adventure that was so unique, it laid the structural foundation for later classics like Knights of Valor and Oriental Legend. The only pity was that the gameplay was a bit complex, and it was entirely in a foreign language. Who could actually figure it out back then? It wasn't until the emulator era that people truly appreciated its incredible depth. It's honestly heartbreaking that it didn't become a massive hit back in the day. Bringing the arcade's romance of the Three Kingdoms passion to life once again is Warriors of Fate. This side-scrolling masterpiece was set during the Battle of Red Cliffs. So many kids born in the 70s and 80s teamed up with their classmates and brothers to fight through hordes of enemies, sweating bullets, violently thrashing the joysticks, and smashing buttons to eat virtual buns. The smell of smoke and sweat mixed with the shouting and cursing, man, that atmosphere was just unforgettable. Did you ever skip breakfast or lunch just to save up allowance for arcade tokens to play this? That iconic audio line still echoes through the youth of an entire generation. Fatal Fury Special. Since this was an enhanced version of the second game, it beautifully showcased SNK's signature dual-line fighting system. Personally, I think the Fatal Fury series represents the absolute pinnacle of SNK's visuals and artwork. The quality of Special completely surpassed its predecessor. The move designs were solid, the character sprites felt alive, and the lore had real depth. Every character had a compelling backstory. Even Ryo Sakazaki from Art of Fighting made a crossover guest appearance. The only minor flaw might be that the pacing was slightly slower compared to Street Fighter II, but being compared to Street Fighter II is already the highest praise a game could get. It was a true flagship title for SNK. The King of Fighters 94. This was the legendary year one where SNK's fighting stars first assembled. Kyo Kusanagi, who would become a massive star, made his debut here. Popular characters from Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury, Ikari Warriors, and more all stepped onto the stage together. The 3-on-3 team elimination mode completely reinvented the fighting game ecosystem. While KOF 94 definitely had its fair share of balance issues looking back, you have to admire SNK's relentless drive to innovate. Every single sequel that followed kept evolving, which is exactly why the series completely dominated the domestic arcade market in the mid to late 90s and became SNK's ultimate golden brand. Street Fighter II: The World Warrior. The absolute foundation of the entire fighting game genre. Released in 1991, it was an instant masterpiece that utterly crushed every other game on the market. How massive was its impact? Forget about gaming-obsessed boys like us back then. Even my mom, who was a housewife in her 30s at the time, knew phrases like Hadouken, Shoryuken, and Tatsumaki Senpukyaku. When she picked me up from school and chatted with other parents, she'd say, "I don't know what those words mean, but the moment these kids say them, their eyes completely light up." Even though this video doesn't have official rankings, I had to save this one for last out of pure respect. The arcade era of the early 90s was an absolute explosion of incredible titles. Even though we've covered 10 amazing games in this video, the pool of classics out there is still as vast as the ocean. Like I said at the start, how many parts we make for this series depends entirely on you. See you in the next episode.